What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Dev and the Bear. Real quick, we just want to let you know, please follow us on our new Instagram, Dev and the Bear, no spaces, no caps. And be sure to like and comment on things. Make sure to talk to us. We like to know. Let us know what your thoughts on our episodes are or different fights. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming fight night between Jack Hermansson and Sean Strickland. Pretty notable names on the card. You got a lot of fighters who are up and coming, but very exciting fighters.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is going to be kind of a slept-on card. So you have like Malcolm Gordon, Alexis Davis, which isn't even an up-and-comer really, but Alexis Davis is there. Jason Witt, Chidi Njokuani, Hakeem Dawodu, you have Michael Trezano, Miles Johns is headlining the prelims.
Which that will be very exciting. I did want to talk about that just because he's on the 2-fight knockout streak right now.
Yeah, and then he's taking on John Castaneda, who I think has come in and done some stuff. I really cannot remember. I know the name, though, and I wouldn't know the name if I hadn't seen him do something. But again, same thing with the main card is there's just a handful of names that I think people are going to know. If you don't know them yet, you're going to. Like, these guys are going to be really good. You have Julian Erosa and Steven Peterson. That one should be pretty fun, kicking off the main card.
Yep.
We're going to kind of jump around a little bit here. You have Shavkat Rakhmonov. That guy's very fun. We've seen him get a knockout. It's very exciting.
Yep.
He's fighting Carlston Harris. And then you have the co-main event, Punahele Soriano and Nick Maximov. It's pretty solid fights. But one fight that's kind of just peppered in there in the main card is going to be Tresean Gore and Brian Battle,
Right.
which was the original one set for the Ultimate Fighter finale. Those two dudes go after it when they fight. They are very scrappy. Not always like sloppy like you would expect someone to fight, like the way that the style that they have when they're fighting.
Right.
You would kind of expect a little bit of like caution to the wind, but no, they are both very refined when it comes to it. They just like to have wars, so they don't shy away from slugfests, but you never see them like really get caught a whole lot.
Yeah, so
it's
like
very good.
We kind of talked about when we were looking at the card together is like I feel like this fight should have been the co-main event just because there's some storytelling with this fight and it makes some people interested in that because we never got to see this fight. Tresean Gore had to pull out of that fight because he was injured. I forgot who he was replaced by. But Brian Battle went on to win, and he had a very tough first round in the finale, and he came back and won the second round by submission. And so I feel like this fight right here, though, has a lot going on with it that we should all be looking forward to. This is the first Ultimate Fighter winner since the revamp of the show. So, and it's one of those things where it's like he's a very exciting fighter. He comes out, he is very durable, and we got to see that. So it's one that I would definitely keep an eye out for. It's happening very early on in the card as well, so be sure to watch that.
Yeah, definitely going to be a really fun one for the middleweight division. There are several middleweight fights on this card, but headlined by some pretty notable middleweights.
Yep.
Sean Strickland. Everybody knows Sean Strickland by now.
Yeah.
All the wild stuff he says while fighting, just the things this guy does while fighting.
He cracks me up, man. He's so out there.
He is a nut job.
Yeah.
But he'll be taking on Jack Hermansson. So you kind of have like two very, very different fighters here.
Yeah.
You have Sean Strickland, who's wild, brawling style, likes to put his hands down and just come forward.
Yeah.
And then you have Jack Hermansson, who is like an assassin when it comes to ground game.
Yeah, he is like a freaking bear, dude. Like,
everything's very calm and calculated, but once he gets a hold of you, he's gonna break something or you're gonna tap.
Yeah, he is. With Jack Hermansson. I mean, you see the way he does to these guys when he takes them down. He breaks them in. Like, he is an absolute killer whenever he gets them exactly where he wants it to go. Now Sean Strickland is similar in the style that he wants to be broken. He wants somebody to go out there and take his head off. Like he knows that he's going to go out there and bring the fight to him, and he's even said himself, like, you know, there's been some stories of him talking about sparring sessions lately, and one of the fights that he talks about is with Francis Ngannou. Like, he spars with Francis Ngannou. Francis doesn't go full power.
Force.
Yeah, he doesn't go full force on him. So he shout out to Airsoft Addy for that one. And so He doesn't go full force with them, but he talks about he just loves the fear of that, and I think just somebody like Jack Hermansson establishes that fear in the sense of like when he takes you down and he's going home with a limb, you know,
like the sense of urgency that Sean Strickland is going to have that he never does have.
Yeah.
He needs to have that if he gets taken down.
Yeah.
I think we see a lot of cage walking. I think we see a lot of Greco-Roman stuff going on. I don't think that Jack Hermansson gets Sean Strickland down early, which does cause some problems because later in the fight, Sean Strickland's going to be sweaty. He's not going to be as easy to submit.
Right.
But I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see Jack Hermansson.
I really like Jack Hermansson.
I do too.
Sean Strickland is just one of those guys
boys.
where it's like, you know, he said it best himself that if he wouldn't have got found fighting, he'd probably be cooking meth somewhere and probably committed a murder. So it's a big story going in this fight because Sean Strickland has a great record. I mean, he only has 3 losses, 24-3, only 1 knockout. He's both the other 2 losses were by decision. One of those being to welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. And so that also kind of raises my, you know, my what am I looking for? My thoughts on, you know, is Jack Hermansson going to try to take this straight to the ground? Because we saw Kamaru Usman do that to Sean Strickland. I mean, you really can't compare the two when it comes to it. But Jack Hermansson, I mean, he's relentless when he wants that takedown. He doesn't stop. He doesn't really get tired. But then again, like we've seen Jack Hermansson also wilt to pressure. You know, Jared Cannonier got a really nice TKO over him whenever they were scrambling, and then he just hit him. But Jared Cannonier is a different type of fighter versus Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland will just throw down with you. He hits hard, but not as hard as Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier really loads up on his shots compared to Sean Strickland, who just wants to just punch you. He doesn't care how much force is behind it, you know. So I think it's going to be an all-around great main event. This is the second fight that Sean Strickland is headlining as well. And his last couple fights, man, against Yoko and against Uriah Hall have just been great fights.
I'm sorry, there's another middleweight fight on the card that we didn't talk about. Sam Alvey, and freaking he replaced Phil Hawes, Brendan Allen, I'm excited for that fight too. I think that's going to be a really fun one.
Yeah, we were just talking about that one today, and there's a lot of good stuff going on right there.
Sam needs to get a knockout.
He needs to get a knockout.
He needs to finish on a high.
I
would assume it's going to be his last fight. He didn't re-sign a contract, so I don't know how many fights he's got left in his contract.
Apparently, all the fucking fights. He's got all of them.
What is he on? 5 straight losses?
Let me double check for you. I want to say it's 5.
It could be 6, but I think it's 5. It's not looking good. He needs to get this, and Brendan Allen needs a win as well.
Yeah. So that's the thing with so Sam Alvey is currently on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's 0-6 and 0-6-1. He is 0-6-1 right now. He hasn't won a fight since June 1st, 2018 against Gian Vellante. And you go back and you look to see who was headlining that card. It was Marlon Rice and Jimmy Rivera.
Jeez.
And so, I mean, there's so many people you can name from that card. It's like, what the hell? Ben Saunders was still fighting in the UFC whenever he got a win. Last time he got a win.
I think that's when he came back.
Yeah, it was when he came back. Yeah. But it was a second run. Julio Arce was also there. So, I mean, it's just the more I talk about it, I'm like, this is absolutely insane that he hasn't gotten a win
still
in that
fighting.
Long. Nathaniel Wood was very fresh into the UFC. Desmond Green wasn't in jail at the time. So, I'm looking at this card. I'm like, damn, like that's crazy that it was that long ago. And so with this fight, man, I mean, I'm actually pretty interested that I like Brendan Allen, but Brendan Allen also, like you said yourself, like he's kind of, he's kind of in limbo right now. We don't really know what's going to happen with him. He was a really good prospect coming into this fight, but I mean, it's just right now, let's see, he's 2-2 in his last 4. But both those are by TKO. One was Sean Strickland. Both those losses is by Sean Strickland and Chris Curtis. And all we're really seeing is that Brendan Allen isn't as durable as he thought he was.
Very fun fight on what should be a pretty solid card. And it's free.
Yeah.
It's not $75.
Yeah. Fuck you, ESPN.
So we'll definitely want to check out. But speaking of definitely something being want to check out, Fury, we got to go watch the Fury Amateur Series the other night. We saw a few friends fight. We made a few friends. Pretty good night.
Yeah, it was all around great night. I mean,
did not start off the way that we would like it to have.
Oh.
The opening fight was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Our freaking homeboy with the mullet got to win.
I told you, man. I knew it.
That wrestler.
Yeah.
I just completely out wrestled the guy. But anyway, our buddy David Wynn went out there and fought the first round. He looked pretty decent. He went out there and got several takedowns, and there were some sweeps by Aguirre. Last name was Aguirre. I'm blanking right now. But it was pretty fun to watch if you're a grappling fan. I was very into it.
Yeah.
Literally like less than 5 seconds left, and Aguirre throws out this left high kick that came up real fast.
Yeah, switch
and caught David just right on the jawline.
Yeah.
It was tough to see that, but he's back. He's okay. Immediately back in the gym the next morning.
Yeah.
So we'll see him again for sure. There's a lot of good fights between really good MMA gyms here in Texas, ACS and War Training Facility. We got to see those gyms go head to head several times. War coming out on top, I think 4-1, something like that. But it was such a good night of fights. And we got to the co-main event for the flyweight title was Micah White who was defending the title against Hayden Bryars. And Hayden Bryars is someone that we had heard about, and I know Micah White because I know who he's beaten, a couple of good guys I know, and I expected that fight to be almost a little better than it was.
Really?
Yeah, because Hayden Bryars was a bit longer than and I've seen him. I know where he comes from. I know he trains with Josh Altum, and so I know what he can do. And he kind of showed a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I thought that Micah was going to kind of be in and out a little bit more, but he showed that he really just wanted to get in and get it to the ground.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him because Hayden Bryars is a lot longer than he is. But eventually we got to see Hayden, take advantage of that and kind of stay collected enough to capitalize on the mistake that Micah made, which is to leave his head in. Mm-hmm. And he got choked out.
It was a really nasty guillotine.
Yeah.
That thing was, as tight as you wanted to get. And then the way that, Micah went in for he shot for a takedown. And these takedowns, it almost came off more like a football tackle.
Yeah.
And Micah did the right thing. He prepared for it. He sprawled, got the guillotine, the way he slept it in.
Hayden did the right thing.
I'm sorry. Hayden did the right thing. I'm learning all these new fighters' names as well. And so... Hayden, did the right thing. He slapped on the guillotine super tight, almost like a ninja choke. And then as he's trying to go up with it, he pushes Micah up against the cage to where he's just stuck. And being because me and Micah are the same height. So whenever you have somebody a lot taller than you, get a guillotine on you and they're just stretching you up to where you're hunched over and then you're standing on your tippy toes and you really have no momentum or anywhere to really grab. It's hard, and gets him stuck against the cage. Ref breaks it up, and Micah drops straight to the floor out cold. And Hayden Bryars is the new amateur series flyweight champion, and he earned it. He stayed collected, like you said, and he put off a great guillotine. It was a very entertaining fight from the start to the finish.
Yeah, we're excited to see more from him. Most exciting, Oliver Jimenez got to win the bantamweight title in the amateur series. Yet again, though, just perfect striking led him to get in the finish. Mm-hmm. It was a third round finish.
Yep.
Just
masterclass.
Picking his shots. Yeah. It's crazy. He's just so calculated when he's throwing these shots. The leg kicks were freaking just annihilating that guy.
They were there from the start.
Yeah.
That guy was not checking any of them. And I'm watching, and the first thing I tell Jeff is he's gonna want to start checking that because Oliver, those kicks suck from him. Yeah. It's to be on the receiving end of a kick from Oliver Jimenez would not be fun at all. And when he wasn't checking him, and then so the guy started off kind of sporadic, moving a lot. Just trying to get a feel for what Oliver is bringing to the table. And then the second that Oliver landed probably about 3 of those leg kicks, he just stopped moving. You know, he wasn't moving around as much.
Yeah.
Wasn't bouncing around. And then after that, anytime Oliver wanted to hit that guy in the face, he did.
Yeah. And he was just stalking him down the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
Basically until that guy just couldn't stop him anymore, and he ended up getting the TKO.
Yeah, the referee had to step in because it was a really one-sided fight. I mean, all respect to his opponent, you know, but Oliver Jimenez is just an absolute just wizard when it comes to stand-up. And it shows that he's training with some of the best guys in Texas right now. And, I mean, I was super happy to see him get the win. I think he deserves it. He puts in all the hard work. He does all that. And I don't know, man. It's crazy because, like, I'm watching in the first round. He's just kind of sticking and moving really well. You know, he jabs. He's jabbing this guy up, and anytime he wants to land a straight, he does. But as the fight's progressing, you see him start to put more into his punches,
and he starts kind of unloading whenever he gets a chance to string more together.
Yeah, and he starts letting off on him, and it's like, man, like you don't see fighters really contain their strength, their harder punches for the later part of the fight, and that's exactly what he did. He did that exactly right. You see a lot of guys will try to knock them out really, really early, and he was like, no, I'm just gonna beat this guy up, and that's what he did.
And some of Dustin Poirier's best fights, that's what he did.
Yeah,
he conserved himself, he picked his shots, and then by the last couple rounds, he's just unloading on him.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was just another great performance by him. I always enjoy watching this guy fight. You know, I never get tired of watching any of these Heritage people fight. And now they have Eve Edwards there, which I'm super excited about. I didn't even train there. I'm excited about it. Like, I just think that's so freaking cool, you know?
Yeah. Just a lot of big things going on in the local MMA scene, for sure. There were a lot of smaller gyms that we got to see. Maybe not smaller, but a little less known.
Yeah.
There was one Press Forward that had a fighter out last night. It was just really fun. A lot of cool people out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever in the Houston area and you want to watch some good fights, go take some time out to go to these events. They're always fun. We always have a good time when we go, and we get to meet some cool people. Zach was a social butterfly and got to talk to a couple people, and which was really cool to see. You know, he had good conversations with guys like Leomano Martinez and Josh Altum, and so it was just all around just a good time.
Yeah. If you were out there, let us know. If you were out at the Escapade 2001.
Yeah.
Which is actually a surprisingly nice venue. That's not a diss to it at all. It was just, when I first heard about it, I was like, it's a nightclub. What the heck?
Yeah, I was thrown off by that too.
Freaking Cradle to the Grave or something. But no, it's really solid. So if you're out there, let us know. And if you want to meet up whenever you go to these fights, let us know.
Yeah, we'd be more than happy to have more people to talk to. It's all about just going, having a good time, and watching these guys put in go watch their hard work pay off, you know? So
let us know your thoughts on these upcoming cards. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Give us something to talk about. That would be interesting. I don't know. Something. Peace.